Welcome to Community Connections. I'm Kathy Millette. Joining us on the show today is Lori Clemens, Lead Transition Specialist, and she's here to talk about a special event we have for military spouses and dependents 16 and over. If you're looking for a job and in the military, it's very difficult with PCS moves, and so it's hard to start a career and keep going. And this event is going to help us motivate and educate spouses in their job search.
Exactly. As military spouses, I myself am a military spouse, and so trying to not only start a career but to maintain it is something that's extremely difficult for majority of the military spouses. And especially when you find yourself overseas, you may have had to leave a career that you've had maybe for several years, maybe ever since you got out of college or high school. And then you find yourself in an area that doesn't have your career field. Or maybe you've been a stay-at-home parent, you decided, you know what, I'm going to take a break when I came overseas, and now that you're getting ready to move back to the States, you've been out of work for 3, 4, 5 maybe years, and you thought, gosh, what have I done with myself during that time? What skills do I even have? So maybe you're re-entering the workforce. And so that's what this event is all about, is really dedicating some time to military spouses in particular. Our program, the Transition and Employment Assistance Program, has 2 different focuses. One, we help the service members who are leaving the military, helping them with all their benefits and finding a job. And a lot of times then the military spouse just says, oh, well, I guess there aren't any services for me. That's just for the military. And so we really wanted to push this event out to military spouses to let them know that we are here for them as well. And we understand the challenges. 90% of our staff are military spouses. So we understand the difficulties with maybe this is a new career field for you that you have to find when you're overseas. You don't know what skill sets you can use. Maybe you were in a highly technical field in the States. You were a dental assistant, or you worked with computers, or you're an engineer, or I've met military spouses who are architects. And they come here and say, well, where's the architect jobs? And I say, good question. Yeah. We might have to find a temporary career field for you while you're overseas. And then it's a matter of, well, how do my skills plug into something different?
Right.
And then when I've done something different here for 3 years, how do I go back to my career field and plug that in? So it can be very frustrating. And there are times that military spouses find themselves just like, well, gosh, I guess there's nothing I can do.
And they give up.
And they give up. Some get depressed, some get angry, some go right back home and say, forget it, I've had it. And so we want to let military spouses know that instead of focusing on all the things that aren't here, on the things that you can't do, what can you do while you're here? And really open their eyes to all the different possibilities, that you're not stuck, your career doesn't have to end. You can actually make something of this.
And you also have door prizes, refreshments, motivational speaker. Nishan Turner is going to be here. Can you tell us what she's going to be talking about?
Oh yes, Nishan, she's a wonderful person. I don't know if you've ever met her, but she is a wonderful person. She works on our team. She does our outreach and marketing for Marine and Family programs. And she is a motivational person herself. One, she's been married to her Marine for over 20 years, so she understands the constant moves, the deployments, raising children, being the single parent while the Marine is gone. So she understands where the military spouses are coming from. And she herself has started her own business as an inspirational and motivational speaker for women. And so we thought, what better person to come and motivate our crowd than someone who does that for a living? And so she's going to be talking about how to maintain that career if you were looking to start a business for yourself, and just making sure that you know how to go about presenting yourself in a positive and confident manner no matter where you go. And she's had to morph into new roles every time they've changed duty stations. And so she's going to be talking about that and just really kind of pumping up the audience and getting them more motivated to look for jobs and not to get discouraged when you hit some of those hurdles along the way.
And speaking of looking for employment, how does social media play a role in currently in searching for a job?
It is big. There are a lot of employers, even here on island, and especially stateside. So if you are a military spouse that's heading back to the States, you need to have a clean online presence. Most people have Facebook accounts, and you may have it locked down to a certain extent, but there are employers that are asking for your password because they want to see what's on your page. And it may not be fair, and you may say, well, that's not right. That's my personal life. it's not a matter of what's fair, it's how the game is played these days. And so we're going to also be talking about how does social media play a role in looking for employment. It's not just searching for the want ads and going online to the different websites out there and just throwing the resume out. It's about doing your research. Because it's an employer's market, they can be very picky and choosy. There are more people looking for work than there are jobs out there. So employers can say, you know what, I can just sit back and wait for my dream candidate to come along. So if you were to approach an employer and you're in the interview and you say, no, I don't know anything about your company, next. Done. I'm not interested in you, because I know the next candidate has done the research. They have researched the company's Facebook page, they've researched the company's web page, they've probably even looked for the recruiters online as well and understand who that they're being interviewed by. And so when you have a candidate like that, now you're the star candidate. And a lot of employers, it's a lot cheaper for them to go looking for you online using different websites, professional websites, than it is to put an ad online or put an ad in the paper or put an ad on TV. It's a lot cheaper to just start mining the websites and finding you. And the recruiter never has to leave their office. And so if you are not present online or have a positive online presence, they can't find you, or when they do find you, they don't want you. If there's something that maybe you've said something negative about their company. One applicant that I was working with the recruiter for this company a couple jobs back, and it was a city water company, and they looked at this applicant. Person came in, interviewed well. They looked the person up online, and they had posted a lot of negative things about the water company.
Nice.
So they said, well, we don't want someone who's going to do that. Next, please.
Oh, that's too bad.
So we're going to be talking about how that plays a role, how to find the right websites, and how to make sure you clean up your act online to make sure that you're the best applicant out there.
Now, should people have two separate Facebook accounts, one for possible employers and one personal page?
Well, what you can do on Facebook is divide your friends list, because by Facebook's policy, you can only have one Facebook page. So what you do is you divide your friends list on which friends you want to see the personal side, lock down those privacy settings, and which friends you want to see the professional side and lock down those privacy settings. And so that's something that we actually have as part of our monthly employment assistance workshops. We have a social network your way to a job workshop, and it goes into great detail on which websites to use, how to use them effectively. And so there are ways to use the media that you already have in a professional manner, and making sure that other people who post on your page, you delete it, you hide it, remove it somehow, because just like you see with celebrities, where someone does something wrong and all of a sudden they lose all their endorsements, people start getting fired, they start losing advertisers because something they did in their personal life. Then if you associate yourself with them, they don't want anything to do with you. So it's the same with your own online presence. You've almost become a celebrity yourself, whether you like it or not. Yeah.
So what are some tips you can give us for marketing your skills?
One of the best things to do is, of course, making sure that your resume is up to date, making sure that you research the industry that you want to go into. So whether you're changing careers, going into a new career field, or trying to stay in your same field, you want to make sure that you understand what are the terms and skills that are most desired by those employers. They may be looking for certain technical skills, computer skills. Maybe there's a certain degree or background, certifications that you need. So you make sure that that is what is prominent on your resume and on your profiles. Whether you're using LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, blogging, whatever the case may be, there's thousands of them, whichever one you choose to use, and making sure that if you're going to use your online presence for networking to another job, to make sure that you are consistent in your message. Myself, for example, I find a lot of articles that I find interesting may be about the government furloughs or the royal baby. I may find that fun and interesting, but I'm not going to post that on any of my sites because it has nothing to do with job search and employment assistance. You want to make sure that your message that you're getting across to others is consistent time and again, because then otherwise employers start going, who are you? Why are you tweeting about the royal baby? What does that have to do with job search? And then it looks like just a social blog, and they go, well, she's not very serious.
Okay. And what are some key points to remember when trying to keep a career through PCS moves?
I think the key thing to remember is to be flexible. More than anything else is that a lot of times you have to expand your horizons, and it's very easy to get very narrow-minded. I was in the banking industry in the States. I want to stay in the banking industry here. I was a manager there. I expect to be a manager here. Sometimes that's not the way it always works. You might have to start over again. And to realize that that doesn't mean it's the end of your career. It doesn't mean it's the end of your career progression. Your service member spouse is not going to stay in the service forever. There is going to come a time when they're going to get out of the service. You need to be focusing on the long range goals, as in whether your active duty spouse is going to be in for 4 years or 34 years. Eventually they're going to be getting out, and so you need to make sure you're prepared to launch your career at that point in time as well. And also to not be afraid to try new avenues. Maybe you get to location, and instead of just saying, well, I guess that's it, I guess there's nothing I'm going to do, maybe try to find a new passion. And I think that's where a lot of times military spouses in particular say, well, if it's just not here, there's nothing for me. Have you tried volunteering? Well, I don't want to work for nothing. Well, you're sitting at home not earning anything. Let's keep your skills current. Let's network, get to know people.
And learn some new skills.
Exactly, learn new skills. You might find a new career field for you. I found the things that I like to do the most through volunteering. And volunteering does not stop you from getting a paid job. I'm living proof of that. Much of my early career was through volunteering with Marine Corps Family Team Building, Navy Marine Corps Relief Society. I did a lot of those because we moved every 1 to 2 years, especially in the first few years of my husband's career. It was all the schools and the trainings and things like that. In my first year of marriage, we moved 3 times. Yeah, that was hard. That was hard.
That's awful.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit at home for 4 or 5 months just going la 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 la. What's on TV? I wanted to do something productive and get out of the house. And so that's why I started volunteering. I was bored out of my mind. And when my husband would come home, what'd you do? Who'd you talk to today? And he was like, oh, get away from me. Stay back, I'm tired, I don't want to talk anymore. And so I found I need to do something for myself, and especially for military spouses who are also parents, you've got to carve a life for yourself, because the children are eventually going to go away, the military career is eventually going to go away, and then where are you? And you don't want to find yourself in that situation. I have met many military spouses that haven't worked, haven't volunteered, haven't gone to school in 10 plus years. And then I think, gosh, what do we put on the resume? And so I encourage spouses that if they're looking for a career, if they're looking for skills to build, volunteer. There are a ton of agencies out there. And by volunteer, I don't mean 40 hours a week. I'm talking 3 or 4 hours a week, a few times a month. That's enough to get something on the resume and to start building some skill sets so that you can speak confidently about yourself in the interview. And that's where you're going to make or break the job anyways, is in the interview. And if you just sit there and say, you know,
nothing. I haven't really done anything.
Yeah. So then the employer says, oh, well, I'm not really interested in you either. So we don't want people to fall into that. We want to make sure that they are motivated to take care of themselves and take care of their careers.
Well, there's a lot of great information. This is the Career Frontier for Military Spouses, and it's open to spouses and dependents 16 and older?
Exactly. Because the dependents have to move as well. We find a lot. In fact, I was at newcomers orientation the other day, and we had a young teenager came up and said, where can I work? I want to work. And so luckily we have resources for them as well. And so yes, the Career Frontier for Military Spouses, which will be September 3rd, and it'll be right over at the Foster Community Center, and it's open to those 16 and over. And so that's what we wanted to get across, is that regardless of all the moves and all the upheaval in your life, is that it is possible. It's going to be sometimes a challenge, more so for some than for others, depending on your career field and your background. But it is possible. It's not the end of the world just because you move. Okay, great. Thank you so much. And once again, Career Frontier for Military Spouses is September 3rd at the Foster Community Center. And if people want to get in touch with you, they want some more information about some of the classes or about the event itself, how can they get hold of you? Best way is to call us, 645-3151. And that's our Camp Foster office. And that's also where we're going to take registrations as well. We do ask that we pre-register folks before this, because we want to make sure we have enough supplies, materials, chairs, chairs, tables for everyone. We don't want to run out, so we ask that everyone please pre-register, and all they have to do is call 645-3151.
For more information, be sure to check out our website at mccsokinawa.com. Stay tuned, right back with more MCCS TV.